everybody. Happy Wednesday. Chloe and I are here for another Wednesday live training. We missed last week. I was on vacation. It was amazing. I won't lie. I've made it a yearly thing to go on vacation alone and to take a trip to the beach all by myself for just a few days to do whatever the hell I want to do, whenever the hell I want to do it, and eat whatever I want to eat, and whatever, just kind of, I guess, be alone with my brain and be alone with my thoughts. And I feel very fortunate that I have the opportunity to do that. So this year I went to Gulf Shores, Alabama, which is southern Alabama. I was at Gulf Shores, and I did spend some time in what's it called? At Orange Beach too. But yeah, so I went and I scheduled a photo shoot because a lot of my brand, if you never noticed, has kind of a beachy vibe, right? You might have seen like the palm leaves and things behind some of my graphics and things like that. And so what better way to not spend my vacation, but what better way to make sure that I come back and be productive is to have an awesome photo shoot while I'm there. So I'm excited to get those pictures back, and y'all should be seeing some updates and changes to some of the graphics and things in the group once I get them back. I don't have them back yet, so probably in another week or so I'll get them back. So anyway, super excited about that. That's what I have going on. That's why I wasn't here last week. This week we're going to talk about all of these terms that you're probably at least somewhat familiar with: calorie cut, cut, deficit, maintenance, bulk, surplus, all of these things. I'm going to talk about all of those. I'm going to talk about generally what they mean and kind of how we use those as tools to improve our body composition, meaning amount of lean muscle mass versus fat on our bodies and things like that. So that's pretty much what we're going to do today. So if you are here live, or even if you're not, even if you're watching the replay, if you will please give a thumbs up on this video and or comment on it, just say hey. I always appreciate that. That helps our videos and any of the posts in the group. That helps those things pop up on the feeds of more people when you do that. So I'm always very thankful whenever anybody does that. And if you have any questions as we go, whether you're live or replay, it doesn't matter. If you have any questions as you're watching, please put those questions down in the comments. And if I don't get to them live, I will be able to get to them after. Either myself or even Allie can answer those questions as we see them. So please don't be shy. Please don't be afraid to post questions, and just interact in general, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Hold on, I'm just trying to make sure that everything is yeah, okay, I do see us in the group, or see me in the group, or us. We have Chloe here too. So all right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Like I said, please react, say hey, do something in the comments, or react on the video. Sorry, I'm like distracted trying to look and make sure everything is recording correctly. So, all right, so let's get started talking about today's topics. Let me record over here. Okay, so let's roll. You have probably heard of the terms calorie deficit, or a cut, or maintenance, or bulk, or a surplus. And maybe you have a general idea of what these things mean, but maybe you don't really know how to use these nutritional phases as tools to help improve your body composition. Or perhaps you have no fucking clue what I'm talking about, and so you've come to learn. But either way, I got you. We're going to cover this all today. And like I said in the start here, please feel free to leave any comments, questions, anything like that as we go. And I am more than happy always to interact and answer those and to start up a conversation. So please don't be afraid to leave any comments or questions as we go here, if there's anything that isn't perfectly clear or is confusing to you. So I want to start with what you probably already know, and then I'm going to work my way up the scale. So we all know, I think we all know, that a calorie deficit is what's going to help us lose weight. A calorie deficit meaning we're eating we have less calories coming in than what we are calories that we're using throughout the day. And so we use calories throughout the day, and not just in exercise. A lot of people feel like I can't lose weight because I can't exercise. Really, weight loss is more about nutrition than it is about exercise. It's more about you can create a calorie deficit by eating less than what your body is burning. You can create a calorie deficit by moving your body and burning more calories. So there's lots of ways to make a calorie deficit. Exercise is not the end all be all to weight loss. In fact, the majority of weight loss, or fat loss specifically, is going to come from your nutrition and not from your exercise, surprisingly. So we know that we need this calorie deficit in order for us to lose fat. At least I think we do. If any of you saw my reel on Instagram today, or even on my personal Facebook page, I had a conversation with like random internet man who tried to tell me that calories have nothing to do with weight loss. And I was like, crickets. Like, are you sure? He tried saying it's only about carbs. And he said a lot of not terribly nice things to me in the course of that conversation. I'm like, okay, sir. Thank you for mansplaining me incorrectly. Anyway, so we know that we should eat less in order to lose weight. If we eat too much, then we might gain weight. And so this period of eating less is a calorie deficit, or another word that we use for that is a cut. And a cut just meaning short for a calorie cut. So let me clarify that just a little bit. A calorie deficit, or a calorie cut, or a cut, is just a tool that we use and should be cycled for fat loss. It is not a place where you should live. If you have a lot of fat to lose, you can do a cut for up to about 6 months. If and only if your body is still responding, meaning you are still losing weight, and you feel good. So that includes your digestion, your energy, you're sleeping well, all of that. If any of those things start to really negatively affect you, you want to stop your cut for a short period of time. And I'm going to talk about that. You can go to maintenance, which is the next phase that I'm going to talk about. But if you have a medium or a small amount of weight to lose, and by medium or small, I'd say like 30 pounds or less, then you're going to want to keep your calorie deficit or your cut to about 12 to 16 weeks. Okay. So remember, a calorie deficit is just a tool. It should not be how we live. We should not just live permanently in these very, very low calories. That's not good for us. That's going to create nutritional deficiencies, affect your metabolism, all kinds of things. So when you're in a cut, also, it is very difficult, if not impossible, to grow muscle. And in fact, we most of the time are going to lose some muscle when we're in a cut. The longer you're cutting, the more muscle you're at risk of losing. Strength training and eating high protein during your cut can help you mitigate the loss of muscle, but it is still inevitable. You're inevitably going to lose some amount of muscle while you're in a cut, which is why this is not a place where we should live, because the last thing we want, particularly as we're getting older, is to be losing muscle. That's going to have real major effects and implications on our health as we get older. That's going to put us more susceptible to injury. You oftentimes hear about elderly people, falling and breaking hips and things like that. We want to hold on to as much muscle as we can. So we want to make sure we are not living in this calorie deficit. So once you have been in that calorie deficit for a while and you've lost some weight, and one of two things, you might notice your weight loss start to plateau, meaning you stop losing weight, or you might just honestly start feeling like a bucket of trash. If you just start feeling bad, your digestion's not great, your sleep isn't great, your bad moods, low energy, it might even affect your monthly cycle. When you notice these things, you want to cycle your calories back up to maintenance, which brings us to our next stage and our next word. Maintenance is the amount of calories that you eat so that you are neither gaining nor losing weight. Okay. This is a place where your body is happy. We call this, and we call this, we're bringing ourselves back to homeostasis, because this is an increase in your calories back up to where your body starts responding positively. So things like improved sleep and sleeping through the night, getting to sleep easier, having deeper sleep. improved digestion. Your poop looks the way your poop is supposed to look, and you're doing it consistently at about the same time every day. You get lots of energy. You start feeling strong. Your moods are better. Your cycles are regulating. This phase, this nutritional phase, is where our body is very happy. This should be the place where we're able to get a lot of really good nutrients into our body. If you're strength training, you can keep your calories around maintenance pretty much forever. I mean, you can do that anyway, but if you're strength training and you keep your calories pretty much at maintenance, then this is where you might start seeing some change in body compositions, because you're able to build muscle and lose fat at the same time when you're in maintenance. However, it does take kind of a long time to do that at maintenance, which is where some of these other phases come in handy. But you absolutely can hang out right around maintenance level calories and put on muscle and lose fat at the same time. Now, if you were in your calorie deficit, you were there for a while, your weight loss plateaued, you increased your calories up to maintenance for a little while, you might want to go back into your calorie deficit if you still have more fat to lose. Because remember, in the beginning, I told you a calorie cut or a calorie deficit should be cycled. We should not stay in that cut for a long time. We're eventually going to stop making progress, and then what do? So you want to go up to maintenance for a while, then you can go back down into your cut. So the general rule for that is to stay at maintenance for about half the length of your cut. So for example, if you were in that calorie deficit or that calorie cut for 12 weeks, you want to be at maintenance for about 6 weeks. If you were in a calorie deficit for like 6 months, you want to be at maintenance for about 3 months before you go back into the cut, okay? Now, you might be thinking, but I don't eat very much and I pretty much live in a calorie deficit. A lot of people do. In fact, the majority of my clients who come to me are usually living in a deficit. And what I have to do is increase their calories slowly up to what should be their maintenance level, which is a healthier level. So we start seeing their body getting happy and coming back to homeostasis. And then we can do a cut, but we usually need to stay there for quite a while, sometimes months before we can do a cut. And that's normal, but that's also why I'm warning you that you don't want to stay in that deficit for a really long time, because that's going to make it extend the amount of time it takes for you to reach your goals. Okay, so we've talked about cuts, we've talked about maintenance, and then we've even talked about how to go back into your cut after being at maintenance for a while. So now the last phase I want to talk about is your calorie surplus, or we call it your bulk. Bulking is not scary, but there is something about that word that strikes fear into the heart of women everywhere. They do not like that word bulk. And there's nothing to be afraid of with a bulk. A bulk is the intentional increase of calories to just slightly above your maintenance level by only like 150 or 250 calories. And this allows your body to build muscle while you're strength training. Most people that are purposefully going into a bulk are trying to build muscle. You should not gain more than 1 or 2 pounds per month when you're in a bulk. If you're finding that you're gaining 5, 7, 10 pounds, your calories are way too high. You want to lower those a little bit. You should not be gaining all that much in a bulk. And part of those 1 to 2 pounds per month that you're gaining is going to be muscle. Part of it is going to be fat, and that is normal. That's what's supposed to happen. We're not afraid of that. That's supposed to happen. You want to bulk for a fairly long period of time. I personally like to have it around 6 months or so. And that allows your body time to grow muscle. It takes a long time to grow muscle, longer than you expect. So we want to be in that bulk for quite a while to give your body the opportunity to grow. If you're only going to do it for a few weeks at a time, there's no real point in doing that, honestly. Your body's not going to really respond much. So for example, I have just finished a bulk. Actually, I started in early November. I had a competition November 3rd that I needed to make weight for. Once that competition was over, I increased my calories, and I have been bulking since the beginning of November. When I stopped that bulk just a couple of weeks ago, or really about a week ago when I came back from vacation, I gained right around 7 pounds. So that was 6 months of a bulk, 7 pounds of gain. Now, not all 7 pounds is fat. Not all 7 pounds is muscle. It's a combination of the two. So once your bulk ends, you want to switch back into that calorie deficit phase or the cut phase so that you can lose the fat that you gain and reveal the muscle that you've grown underneath it. Okay, so all of these phases should be cycled. We really shouldn't live in any one place except maybe at maintenance. You absolutely can live at maintenance, but we should not live in a deficit. We should not live in a bulk. You can imagine how living in either one of those two forever or for a very long period of time is going to have negative impacts on your health. These are all just tools in a toolbox. So these are all just things that we do intentionally so that we can change our body composition, add more muscle, lose fat, whatever. Now, many women are so afraid of gaining weight that they eat very, very little, and inadvertently they're keeping themselves in a permanent calorie deficit. But what that does is it eventually brings your metabolism down with it, and then you struggle to achieve your goals. Because imagine this, I've been eating 1,200 calories because I'm afraid of gaining weight. My metabolism has also met me at 1,200 calorie level, maybe has even gone below. You might even be gaining weight with very little calories or just doing nothing. But you're already only eating 1,200 calories, which, by the way, is the calorie allotment for a toddler. Adult women should not be eating 1,200 calories, the very vast majority of us. So what can you do? You're not losing weight here. Your option is to eat even less, which is incredibly unhealthy, can create nutritional deficiencies and everything else. Or your other option is to slowly increase calories, slowly, 100, 150 at a time, until you get up to a healthy amount, and you're going to start feeling all of those benefits. You're going to feel like you have more energy. You're going to want to go exercise or take walks or whatever because you feel good. Your sleep is going to improve. Your poop is going to be better. Okay, all of these great things are going to happen when you start increasing calories. And when you increase slowly, you're not going to be as likely to put on. You're literally 100 calories is not going to make you gain 5 pounds. I promise you. So you add slowly every week, 100, 150 calories per week, maybe every other week, and you allow your body and your metabolism to adjust to these new calories until you get to a healthy spot. I like to get my people to over 2,000 calories, maybe around 2,200 before we cut. That's my goal for my clients. So you want to slowly increase so that you can then do a cut and achieve your goals at a healthy level where you are able to feed yourself properly, though, even though you're in a cut. Okay. So when you're always in a deficit, like I said, it's very difficult, if not absolutely unhealthy, to create a deficit. So you have to be aware of what you're eating. You have to make sure that you're not inadvertently living in calories that are too low. And like I said earlier, the number, it's over 90%, it's around 92% of the women that I have worked with have come to me not eating enough. And I need to spend time building up those calories like I just described so that we get their bodies back to homeostasis where they feel great, and then we can do the cut. This is super, super, super common with women. Most women are afraid of food, and there's no reason to be when we know what we're doing. So enjoy food. Food should be a good thing. Your body needs it. It is literally energy. So how do you know how many calories would equate to each of those phases that we talked about? And honestly, the truth is that there's some trial and error involved. You can use a trustworthy online calculator, like there's one from Legion Athletics. That's a pretty trustworthy one. Or you can hire a coach that can help you figure that out. I happen to know a great nutrition coach. You can hire someone to help you figure that out. And even once, I tell all of my people when we start that this is literally estimated. It's always going to be estimated numbers, and we will play with it, and we pay attention to how your body is feeling, what your body is doing, and we can adjust. So you want to determine about where is your estimated maintenance calories and compare it to what you're eating now. And if you're currently eating way below that, then you need to spend time building up to it. If you're currently eating above it, then you can bring your calories down to it, okay? And then, if you're eating above it, then you're probably in a surplus where you're gaining weight. You can bring your calories down to the maintenance or even a little bit below it, 300 or so calories below it. and that would put you in a cut, and then you can lose fat. So, but you want to be able to get a good, trustworthy estimate of your maintenance. Do not use what MyFitnessPal says that you should eat. MyFitnessPal tells everybody they should eat 1,200 calories. It's absolutely asinine. MyFitnessPal is notoriously low. Do not listen to that. Find one that's a little more trustworthy. And you need to be honest about your activity level in order to determine these numbers. Be for real. And you can get a good idea of where those numbers would be. It's obviously going to be different for everybody, so I can't just like right now tell you a number. So compare it to how you're eating now, go from there. Pay attention to your body for a couple of weeks. Pay attention to what's happening. Am I gaining weight? Am I losing weight? How do I feel in all of those things I talked about? Sleep, digestion, energy, mood, strength. How am I feeling with all of this? If I still don't feel great, if I'm either not gaining any weight or losing any weight, then you can maybe creep your calories up a little bit, just like 100 calories. That's it. And see what happens. Do that for a week. See what happens. If still nothing is happening, I'd add another 100 calories. See what happens. And once you get to that spot where you're like, oh, okay, I have gained a little. Now, disclaimer, it is normal to gain or lose anywhere up to 5 pounds per day. That's just water and poop. So don't freak out if you all of a sudden gain 3 pounds overnight. You might just have to poop, or your body is holding water, something like that. Don't stress it. It's normal. You want to look at the long-term trajectory, not the day-to-day. Okay. So yeah, wow, that's it. So yeah, you want to just, I'm just looking at my notes here. So you're going to compare it to how you're eating, give yourself a couple of weeks, see what your body does, make adjustments from there. So my question for you is, what questions do you have? How can I help you, or how can we help you? Allie is also a certified nutrition coach as well. So even though I'm always the face on here, we've got Allie as a great resource in here as well. And then also, just what other topics are you wondering about? I actually don't have any live planned for next week, only because I was on vacation last week and I just haven't really thought that far ahead yet. So I want to know what you want to know about, and I will schedule some lives around these topics. But what questions do you have about this? Please leave that in the comments. Tell me what things you're wondering about in the comments, anything like that. And I am happy to have that conversation. I love talking about this stuff. So don't ever be afraid to reach out. I will talk to y'all next week. Like I said, I don't know what the topic's going to be next week yet, but there will be one. And I hope you have a great rest of your week. I hope the weather's warm wherever you are. So drink your water, eat your protein, and be adventurous. Go try something new this week. I'll see you later.